All right, guys, lab 2. This is pretty similar to lab 1, except now we're doing heart rate and blood pressure while they are exercising. All right, so it's a little bit harder during exercise. There's more movement, there's more things going on in the lab around us. So it just requires a little bit more focus and a little bit more practice, but that's fine. That's what we are here to do. All right. So for this lab, we're doing a cycle ergometer trial and a treadmill trial, one for each partner. You guys don't have to do both. For the cycle, we can look at this table. Each stage is 3 minutes, and the watts are predetermined. All right. And I'll talk about watts and how we turn that into the resistance on the bike in a second. But understand that these are the watts that you stick to for the whole protocol. So don't change those up other than what it tells you to do. For the treadmill, again, 3-minute stages. And for this one, the speed and grade increase is the same every round, no matter male, female, anything else. All right. So for that one's pretty straightforward. For the cycle ergometer, make sure you pay attention to the right category. For the lab, we're taking heart rate, blood pressure, and RPE for each stage. Now, that doesn't mean you need to wait until the 3-minute mark, because that can make it pretty challenging to stay within the time. So it's a good idea to start either halfway or even a third of the way through the stage to make sure that you've got enough time and so that your trials don't run excessively long. So you're going to start with heart rate. A good starting place is around that halfway mark. So maybe a minute and a half. You take a 15-second heart rate, you can multiply that by 4 to get your final reading, and then immediately go into your blood pressure reading, okay? Just one blood pressure reading. Once you get that done, you'll ask your partner for their RPE, which is their rating of perceived exertion. There are posters around the lab, and there's also a scale on the bike for our 6 to 20 RPE scale that we use. And essentially it's just a subjective measurement of how hard they feel like they are working. All right, so that's what that is. For the cycle ergometer, your participant needs to be pedaling at 50 RPMs the entire time. All right, and the tester is the one that is adjusting the resistance. The participant does not stop pedaling at any point, and they do not stop especially during the blood pressure and heart rate reading, because that's why we're practicing, so we can get that during movement. So I mentioned watts. That is kg, our resistance, times cadence, which is our RPMs. So all of the calculations are already here for you guys. So 25 watts tells you exactly how to do that and what your resistance is on the right in the parentheses. All right, that number in the parentheses is the resistance that you use on the bike. So that little pendulum on the side of the bike, that is what you're looking at, and you're lining up these numbers with that. For your results section, you're going to have 2 graphs and 2 tables. So for your tables, they'll look exactly like the ones in the example. Just make sure that you swap out the heart rate, blood pressure, and RPE boxes for your partner's data. All right, everything else should be the same. For the watts, you may have to change that because I think this is set for the male's resistance, so females will have to change that. For table 2, this is the treadmill. All right, and speed and grade, like I said earlier, is the same for everyone, so you don't even have to touch that. Just update the heart rate, blood pressure, and the RPE section, and you're good. Make sure those are properly labeled. Tables always are labeled on top. For the figures, you guys don't have to know how to make these on your own because there is an Excel data sheet. You will put your data into those boxes in the top left corner, okay? And then it'll automatically make these graphs for you. These have a trend line. They have the y equals equation and the correlation, which is the r squared. For you guys, put that in there. You can copy and paste it directly into your lab report. Make sure you've got the right one for cycle ergometer and the right one for treadmill. And then you're good. Okay, when you're doing the cycle ergometer, make sure that you are using the watts, not the kg or the cadence. Always make sure you're using watts so that it will look correct on the figure. In your discussion, what is your client's predicted max heart rate? You're going to use the graphs to figure that out. And then what percentage of their predicted heart rate max were they working at during the 3 stages? Okay, so then once you find that heart rate max, then you just take a percentage through your 3 stages and you've got that answered. Heart rate reserve and how that is measured, and then what percentage of heart rate reserve. Same thing. There's the heart rate reserve equation, and then you're just going to get the percentage from that, okay, based on what they had for their 3 stages of exercise. Something to note here. Although you are only doing one part of the exercise, so you're doing, say you do the cycle and your partner does the treadmill, get both data sets for your report, okay? So even if I did the cycle and then Kennedy did the treadmill, I want to have both of those. So I'll have both the data that she collected on me and the data I collected on her, both make it into the report, so I have 2 tables and 2 figures, okay? Please make sure you have both of those. When you go down to your data collection sheet, your heart rate reserve equation is right there at the bottom, as well as the Karvonen method for max heart rate. All right, everything is down there. Your data collection sheet, make sure you have that on your lab report when you turn that in. I think that covers everything. See you guys in lab.